Hello. Um, I'm really bad with introductions, but if you know me, you know what I'm doing. If you don't know me, hello, my name is Ponzi. Um, I'm 21 and I am currently seeing family in Malaga. And I'm going to be here for 3 weeks. So today's te- technically day two, but it's like day one for me. Um, we are we were first in Tomalin, and then now we just took the bus so we can go. I forget where we are, but so we can go to the train and head to mainland Malaga. We're gonna be by the Mediterranean Sea. It's gonna be very very nice. Really excited to try and vlog this, even though it's low key a little embarrassing. But I think it's gonna be very cool. Look how beautiful, super nice out. We are still walking to the train. These are the two abuelitas that I'm going to be with for the next 3 weeks. They're really funny. They're really funny. Later, they're actually going to teach me how to make croquetas, like the way that my abuelita used to before she forgot. So it's actually going to be quite nice. The train should be not that far. Um, very excited. And yeah, everyone smokes here. It reeks of smoke. I don't like it, but it is what it is, right? Hello. They are multiplying. Look at them. Now it's three of them. Mitosis. There's four of them now. It They keep on growing. I don't know where we're going at this point. We've been to like three trains. I just want food, and we're taking a walk. It should be 10 minutes, but they're arguing, and I have no clue what that means. Por aquí? Ah, okay. We're going across a park now. Oh my god. Well, yeah, we're by a park now. Let's see how European parks are. Um, they have a mural of an old man kissing a baby. That's interesting. Very interesting. Um, it's quite big. Look at that. Look at all this. Um, I have no idea exactly if we're going to a restaurant or if we're just gonna walk by the sea. If so, why didn't we bring bathing suits? So many questions. I have a lot of questions, but I'm just gonna pretend like everything is fine because I have no power in this situation. So I'm just gonna go with the flow with it. It's very pretty park though, and it's very nice weather. It's like 70 degrees, but the heat, the sun, the blinding sun, does give it good justice. Um, yeah, it's very pretty. Um, Half of the women here do not like the sun, as many Hispanic women do, where they are completely obsessed with saying white, which is why they yell at me for not having a hat. But, you know, it is what it is. This guy got aura. Look at that. Super educated. Lector de Adi Olivir. I don't know what that means. But he's pretty cool. Oh, uh huh. I was supposed to have a cerveza, but they're not here. The food was very good. These people won't stop talking though, and I really want to go to the beach. But they also told me not to bring a bathing suit because we're not gonna be at the beach. So I was like, why? Why do we not kill two birds with one stone? Why I should have brought my bathing suit and just gone to the beach. Um, but again, it's the first day. we'll be back to actually enjoy it. Maybe it's because of the day, but I have no idea. Yeah. Um, we're like really close. Like if you look at the beach, we're literally like right across to like Morocco. So if the waters weren't bad, I would actually swim to Morocco. But sadly, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in uh, very treacherous seas. That's what I meant. Very treacherous seas, especially here where the Atlantic meets the Mediterranean Ocean. It's just horrible currents. You will actually die if you swim over there. Um, but it is very beautiful to look at. That's for true. I will get back when I have something to show, because I don't know what we're doing after this. And these old women keep on talking. It's been like like 30 minutes since we finished eating. Yeah, yeah. I got my beer. Um, maybe let's see how quickly I can chug it. Okay, we finally got outside after like an hour, but look how pretty it is. Wow. Oh, look at all that. We apparently are going to swim tomorrow, which is way nicer. Um, hopefully you can hear me, but yeah. And then there's this big tower, very big tower. I don't know what it is for, but it's really cool. The playa, Ay, very cool. And they have a playground in there, which is pretty awesome. I gotta translate this, but it is a chimney. I don't know what for what though. It's really really interesting. It's very tall, all the way up there. But yes, it is a chimney, which is really really interesting. I don't know for what. Esta chimenea sería la más alta de España con sus casas funcional. Requiere laminar el plomo procedente del. I got no clue. I don't know if maybe it's to just burn trash. And it has a really interesting thing hanging from it. I don't know what that is. Um, the abuelitas ended up like arguing whether or not it was that chimney was a lighthouse or not. Um, don't pull the flowers! Oh my god, these people. Oh my god, so stressful. Um, but yeah, I personally think it is not a lighthouse. It seems like the emphasis on the plaque is more about what do you call it? More about like testament to industry and of Malaga than it is about like signals. But I do understand like smoke signals for that. You don't pull seriously don't pull flowers. Seriously, don't do that. That's not good for the environment. No. Yeah, don't. What are you, 5? Anyway, yeah, but they seem to make an emphasis on the plaque that it's more about industry than it is about like anything involving like ports or sailing. So I personally think it is not a lighthouse in any shape or form. I think it is just a chimney that happens to be right by the beach. Because a lot of the information on the plaque does seem to emphasize that it's more about industry. It being like the tallest chimney. I don't know if it's like all the way gone over there, but the tallest chimney in Malaga at that point in like 1930s. While the abuelitos over here think that it's a still lighthouse in some shape or form. I disagree, but that's just me. We are not even at the end of the day. I'm low key so socially drained. It's not even funny. Like, um, I think it's just because I've been dealing with 4 abuelitos with completely different expectations and judgments. One of them really hates the idea of aging in any possible way. The other one hates the other ones, and there's a lot of judgment around. Um, it's just very exhausting, very very exhausting. But despite it all, it's been nice. Look at the beach. The beach is very nice. Tomorrow we will be at the beach, like for sure. And most likely I don't have to see the other two ones, which is really good because I don't need to see more abuelitas. I've had my fill already. I don't even know where we're going per se. I think we're just walking in general by the beach, but it's nice. It's a lot like Miami Beach. It is a lot like Miami Beach, but it has way more sand. This is like something that not that I've noticed, but it is true that it's happening. Our beaches in Florida are becoming more and more washed up because our aquifers cannot replenish the amount of water on our land. So we're sinking. If you ever heard that Florida is sinking, it is because it's actually sinking, since the bottom of our land is essentially limestone, which is a rock that holds in water. Because of that, it's really hard to go to the beach a lot. I find myself very sad when I'm at the beach because you can tell the space between the sand and the shore is getting shorter and shorter, which is really really bad for habitat. If you've grown up in Florida, then you know like the whole like giving space for sea turtle beds and stuff like that, because the sand is really really important for a lot of natural life to be able to hatch their eggs. It's like a very important transition between land and water, and so a lot of plants thrive there, a lot of animals thrive there, and to have it be shortened and shortened because of climate change, it's very sad. So in a way, being here in Malaga is very nostalgic. Again, at the end of the day, even though this is the Mediterranean Sea, it is still attached to the Atlantic Ocean, so it is quite nostalgic because this does feel very familiar. And the amount of sand that's here is very nice to see. I have not seen a beach with a lot of sand in a very long time. So I'm very, very happy about that. I can't wait to, kind of enjoy myself and, appreciate the sea here. Oh my god, there's like a whole thing. Look at this guy. Whoa. What's he doing? Oh, he's cooking sardines. Okay. Those sardines here are really good. I only took photos of it, but the food we had was very good. I had pulpo, because I like octopus. Octopus is very good. The rest of them had sardines, ensalada, and, other chiquitita things. Old lady food. I have been going to the gym and I'm supposed to be on a caloric surplus. I am not reaching my caloric surplus at all. We are eating like grannies here in Malaga, so I have no clue, especially because these people are stingy as fuck about money. Like, I had to pay for the whole dinner because they were like mad that I had 2 beers, which is weird, but it is what it is, I have the money to do so. But anyway, very very interesting. I'm gonna take it a turn. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm like trying to but over there, you see all that port? It's like a bunch of machinery and industry over there, which is really interesting. I've never seen that so close to the beach. But yeah, very nice day. I will get back whenever I can. Okay, we're at a really really cool school on a really cool street in Malaga. It is this. I have to go on the bus really really quickly, but it is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Look at these gates, these walls, very very pretty. Also just the square in general is very beautiful. I would love to know exactly what it is. It seems like this is also a museum for automobiles. Very very interesting, but it's also a school, which is really cool, really really cool. But yeah, very pretty. I specifically wanted to take a video more on this side. Very very cool. I know, very pretty. It seems the Escuela de Superior de Estudios de Empresa. Very interesting. Okay, I gotta head go now. Whoa. Oh my god. Look at this beautiful Calle San Bartolome. Very, very pretty. Super interesting. We're walking back now, back to the apartment. Very, very nice. What's thing over here? Super cute. It seems like we're heading to the end of the day, but I will check in if there's anything else.
I'm cooked. Hello. I just did another I did a massive outro where I rambled about a bunch of stuff. But I realized that the input was actually going through my headphones and not my microphone. So um that's a lot of footage that just went to waste. But anyway, hello. It is been a bit since I've been back. I got here around 8 o'clock. It's 9:02 at this moment. There's still sun outside, which is crazy. Um, in general, it was a very long day, but it was a very good day. Most of it was transporting. Takes a long time to get around, but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it a lot. I also um, personally it was pretty nice, but I also got very my social battery just drained like this when it came to after a certain point, because four abuelitas is a lot. It actually is a lot. But after we walked around by the bayside of by the beach, we took the two of them. We were on the same bus, and then they went home, and then most of it was spent just traveling. It was very interesting. I got to see further into Malaga, which you've probably seen. I'm gonna try to put B-roll in here. I don't. I've never had to put B-roll. Neither do I. Have I ever learned to really be able to edit in music because I've never used CapCut. So hopefully, this video was very done nicely. If so, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, smash that like button. Um, but yeah, in general, it was, even though there wasn't a lot done today, it was very good. When I was at the restaurant, I had pulpo, um, and it came with these really really nicely stewed potatoes. Very complimentary. Very much enjoyed that. It was expensive, absolutely, but it was very fresh. And if you know octopus, you know that eating octopus, if it's not fresh, is so tough. It's incredibly tough. It doesn't end up feeling good. But when you've had it freshly and you've also had it on the plancha for a certain amount of time, then it's good. Um, pero, you know, sometimes I've had overcooked octopus and that shit is not fun. Anyway, um, for a first day, this has been very fun, very enjoyable. I very much enjoyed it. Um, since I missed yesterday, which yesterday was the actual flight. I'll just do a quick rundown for those who would like to know. I was on Swiss Airlines and we were taking from Miami to Zurich. Amazing, probably the best airlines I've ever been in my entire fucking life. The seats were so nice. I had a blanket. I had a pillow. Oh my god. Spirit Airlines could never. They could never. The dinner service. The dinner service was amazing. We ended up having this chicken sauteed in a buttered sauce. It had stewed vegetables, which were fine, but it also had this masa. I don't know what other way to say it in English or what it was. Maybe a quote unquote pate. It was just masa. It was a really really tasty buttery masa. It was orange, so I don't know if it was mixed in with squash or something. It's very good, very very good. It also came with a Wisconsin white cheddar bar, which is so good. I ate that shit up. Still my abuelitas because I was give me that. And we also had bread with grass fed butter. Okay, and I got free beer free wine. And if I really wanted to and I was awake longer, I would have gotten free croissants. And I could have also probably asked for a prosecco. I should have bought a prosecco. I should really not a bought. I should have asked for a prosecco because prosecco's so good. Love prosecco. Um. Anyway, since it was like a 9 hour flight to Zurich, I the two things that I did because I thought I would do more, but surprisingly I did two, and then I was like really tired and I just tried to sleep the whole time. I read further into Dune Messiah. If you know, I have been trying to finish this book for like 2 years now, and especially with the announcement of Dune 3, this is gonna go more like literally into Dune Messiah. But if you know the lore, you know the lore. And personally, for me, Dune is my favorite book of all time. It is literally masterpiece. Nothing can beat it for me. Nothing, nothing, nothing. And do have a hard time reading, so like I'm very picky about my reading. Like I usually read the classics, but even then, some classics I'm like I can't get through this. I don't enjoy this. But I really, really like Dune. And if you don't know the deep lore in Dune, it is a great book, but it is a very intentional book with intentional wording, right? It is a very hard read because it takes a lot of effort to ingest every single word you are reading because every single word is important. It is intentional, right? These are people, we are in a sci fi future where the control is all between the body, the mind, and the soul. No, not right now. Not right now. Um, sorry, I just got asked if I wanted soup. Um, and so it's a very good book, but a lot of people at the time, especially a lot of young men, misinterpreted it, and they actually, just like now, when the first, like not the first Dune, when the newest remake of Dune came out and the first movie came out, and people started idolizing the fuck out of Paul Atreides. And people still idolize Paul Atreides, and it's kind of annoying because the whole book is an emphasis on the fact that he is not a good main character. It is literally the fact that people in positions of power, colonizers, white people, will never truly understand the plight of what it means to be a minority and an indigenous, especially even if they're integrated into the community, they can very easily just not really understand the end goal and the spirit of why we have an end goal for that reason. So, the book is a very good book. But a lot of people at the time, in the 70s, were like, I'm Paul Atreides, and he was really right. He was just such a good guy to the Fremen. So it's been really hard to read this book because this book is just a response to people who didn't understand the first one. So it's a lot of reciting of themes that already were done way more beautifully and eloquently and subtly too. um, well, this book is just very, very much on the nose. They talk about Lenin, they talk about Hitler. Literally, Paul is like, when they're talking about the numbers of their jihad, which is like they massacred multiple planets, they're like, yeah, yeah, back in human history, uh, Hitler killed a few million people, but we've done triple that amount since then, quadrupled, tenfold. I think it was actually tenfold. I think that was the specific wording for it. It was tenfold. It's just very, very annoying because it's good, but it's just so on the nose, and it's a lot of like introspection of how Paul is feeling because Paul at this point has won, and so the like the overall plot is literally Paul like tweaking out about prophecy of his kingdom dying, and then also like uh Duncan, Idaho, being reintroduced into the story again as a Talaxlu synthetic body. Um, when you watch the movie, you'll understand. This is also a spoiler retelling right now because I'm telling you where I'm at the book. So if you don't want spoilers, skip it. But essentially, I'm at the point where Paul is tweaking out. The B plot is the good part where it's literally a Rulin, grandmother Helen, Skytal. I do love a shapeshifter. I do love a shapeshifter character. It truly, if you give me a shapeshifter in any story, they become my favorite character. Like, don't even play with me. Don't even play with me. Like, easy dub to win me over. Just put a shapeshifter into it. But in general, that whole entire B plot. Also, I forget the fish guy. I don't know. I don't remember his name. He's a fucking loser. But the fish guy. Um, Those four are trying to create a coup to kill Paul Atreides because they obviously don't like Paul Atreides, and Paul Atreides is just tweaking out. And then Alia is a little older, so now she's starting to fawn over Duncan, Idaho, and it's kind of annoying because if you don't know, uh, Frank Herbert, the author, does not know how to write women, and it's kind of been really, really annoying because most of the major factors in the story revolve around Chani, Princess Arulin, and Alia, three female characters who Chani is literally the exotic wife who she only like this whole point is that Chani has been barren and cannot bear a child for Paul Atreides and an heir. So like low key there's been a tweak out because she's like, I can't serve you as a wife and as a woman, so like you should totally have sex with Princess Arulin. And he's like, no, my desert nymph. No, you are the love of my life, but like Princess Arulin, if she gets pregnant, she's gonna use that as a political play to get against the throne, which is true. Paul Atreides W on that one because that is the truth. Then we kind of get into like this whole other debacle where it's like kind of it's like it just gets into this really annoying thing where personally for me I love like Saint Alia. I love Saint Alia of the Knife. She is like a really interesting character because there's nothing more interesting than never really having a human experience, right? Before she was even born, when she was a fucking embryo, like when she wasn't even really like Jessica wasn't even really like pregnant. Jessica had a little embryo in her little body and ends up taking the water of life, which ends up creating a sentient human with multiple other people's personalities and kind of linking them like low-key Avatar State style, but Avatar State before you're even born, right? You have all of these people's memories, all access to their feelings and emotions, and especially with the Ben Gesserit, the intricacies of what it means to be a Ben Gesserit, being kind of shoved onto you. That's why like one of my favorite points in the first book is literally like it is the greatest rape of um to experience, right? Because you have never in your entire life, like you have never even existed. The concept of existence didn't even put upon you, and yet you are put into this flash of straight up pain and misery and all of this manipulation and control that comes with being a Ben Gesserit and the suppression of your emotions too. And instantly, like a flash, right? It is probably one of the best points in the first book for me. And to have this turmoil that Ollie is going through, it's really interesting because it sucks to never really be raised, right? It sucks to never not know something. You know what I mean? To never not know, and to, as a human, we go through the pursuit of knowledge to push ourselves forward. Like, I will never, my experience of who I am now will not be the experience of who I am when I'm 29, or when I'm in my 40s, or when I'm in my 50s, or when I'm on my deathbed, right? The person I will be on my deathbed will be completely different to who I am now. But the steps taken are important. But if you've already kind of reached the stasis of an end of life, which there's a reason why being a Ben Gesserit and a grandmother is such a big decision, because you're in a way kind of putting yourself in a bottle of time. You're literally freezing yourself in a moment of time, and yet you are also kind of amplified at the same time. And it's a very scary situation because you kind of lose the whole point of control and autonomy because you then share your life with the past Ben Gesserits who have taken the water of life. And it's a very, very emotionally daunting situation. Like, it's really interesting. And yet we are sitting here in Dune Messiah watching Alia essentially have all of these cool nuances. Her emotional conflict is the fact that she wants to fuck Duncan Idaho, who's a dead man walking, because he's a synthetic Tlaxu. That's all we get for the most complex character in the entire series. Oh wow! Frank Herbert, you've done it again. Really, 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 really breaching in like new levels of writings for female characters. Truly a testament, truly one for women's rights at this point. And I fucking hate it. And it's been such a drag trying to finish this book because I love Dune. I kind of blew through Dune really quickly. Um, and I just personally have had such a hard time reading this because it is dumbed down for an audience that didn't understand the first book. And it's also building off of a story that innately is it's just like it Dune the original Dune is so perfect, and I feel like the way that it ends is also so good too, because you even though it would be interesting to see how Paul creates this empire, it's also kind of prophesized from the beginning that it is inevitable that it will fall apart, right? Like I don't think Frank Herbert really initially like wanted to make a sequel for this book, but he did, and we have this, and it's been such a rough ride, and it's been really hard because I know that when we get Dune 3 already like Dune the movies, the remake, the movies by Denis Villeneuve, whatever fucking French last name he has, they're really good. They're like literally one of my favorite movies of all time. It is probably one of the closest adaptations I've ever gotten from a book that I feel like is truly like it's so perfect for the spirit of it. Also, I have my criticisms though, because in the first movie they do take out a lot of scenes that I think are very important to the complexities of it, but I also think it's just the fact that movies will always be intrinsically different than a book. Dune is a perfect book. It is not a perfect movie because Dune is all about control and intentions with your words. That's why it is such a daunting read, because every word matters. Every phrasing matters. Every way that every different character talks and thinks matters. And so to see it be put into a movie, there are sacrifices. Like I do struggle talking with Dune movie fans who see Paul's life as a clear white to black moment than what it truly is in the book, where he is kind of spoiled from the beginning, right? He was given teachings of Ben Gesserit and being a mentat, which being a mentat is literally being an AI human, right? Which, you know, doesn't involve ethics, right? It is you're kind of when you become a mentat, the same way that if you become a doctor in Dune, you kind of take an oath, right? And you kind of live kind of a monk life, because no matter what, your biases as a human will affect how you calculate and how you navigate as a mentat. And so it is being a mentat takes a lot of years of training, and it also takes kind of devoting your entire life to it. You can't be a monk and also a king. You can't. You simply can't. And yet, Paul is given all access to all of these, and even more by other characters he was raised by, to essentially be this overpowered, quote unquote, Messiah character. And yet, he has not taken any of the emotional strides and oaths to restrain himself, because there is a sense of responsibility with this power, right? There's a reason why the Ben Gesserit are literally only women. There is a reason, right? It is also a very big monumental thing when a Ben Gesserit takes a water of life, right? If Paul takes the water of life at a young age where he's already been traumatized by the death of his father, he's obviously going to mix in his biases with all of these technical supernatural powers that he gets from it, right? And it's really annoying. It's really annoying because having to talk to other people about it is a kind of tiring, because to them it's a very clear, oh, he was a sweet kid, he goes all this trauma, and then he drinks the water of life and now he's bad. And it kind of sucks, but I do also find the benefits of the movie, where I love where they're going with Chani, and I hope in the third one they kind of push it further. And I really like the emphasis in the first movie of the differences between Southern Fremen and Northern Fremen. Where Northern Fremen are more really pushing to the idea of like, yeah, they really believe in the Lisan al Gaib, they really believe in this mysticism of the worms and of this life, while Southern Fremen, dealing with way more conflict from the Harkonnens, are much more revolutionaries, much more aggressive, much more about the practicalities, kind of the realists of the two sides of the minority groups. And I think it's so interesting. And Chani is definitely a Southern Fremen, so you can tell that's a very big frustration for her. I also had canon. Well, I had canon that what's his name? Kremlin? I forget his name. It was with a K or something. But the doctor in the first book and in the first movie, the one who got gender swapped to be a black woman, which one is way more thematically filling, at least for me, because in the book he is a white guy who used to be from another planet and then integrated himself into the Fremen and speaks for the Fremen.
Hello, this is editing me in the middle of the night, but I realized that I kind of went on a ramble. The reason why I like my headcanon is that the doctor in the first movie is Chani's mother, which is why it's more dynamic in the movie for Chani to have the opinions that she has, because she's kind of almost like an interlink between how the Southern Fremen navigate as survivors in the desert and by the Harkonnens, but also how probably her dynamic with her mother, who would interact and engage with these governments that oppress them, may affect how she feels about now having a romantic tie to somebody who's kind of using the Fremen as an object. But yeah, that's editing me clearing that up, because I keep on rambling like a moron and I don't actually explain what the fuck I'm talking about. So yeah.
Especially when we get into that dinner scene that was taken out in the movie, which is why I'm mad that the first movie didn't include that dinner scene, because that dinner scene is super important to the reason why Fremen care so much about water, right? The Fremen want water because they want a ecological paradise, right? But they also believe in the balance of it, right? They care for the worms, but they also care to have water. But they know that this used to be a water-rich planet and it's dried up, and it's because of the parasite, not the parasites, the invasive like aliens that are actually sandworms. But they understand that even though this is an invasive species that has literally dried up their entire, planet, it's also their way of life. It's also the things they ride on. It also gives them spice, right? I was talking with there was somebody on Instagram that I who like was talking about in general like the water of life, and I wholeheartedly agree, and I commented on it, and I had a little conversation with her about it, because I truly see spice and the water of life itself as the dynamic of how indigenous people have with tobacco, or minorities have with a lot of connections they have to the items that they are enslaved by, right? Cotton, collard greens, tobacco, all of these sugar, all of these things that deeply affected minorities that they were taking advantage of, but also so intrinsically representative of how that has also helped them through many times, right? So it's really, really interesting, because for Fremen, they understand the dynamics of which that this is kind of the deal that they've been given, right? That the worms are part of us now, and that's okay, but they still want something back, and they still want to live in a form of harmony, right? And so it is a intergenerational goal that they push towards to get what they desire for their people, for the betterment of their people, and they're willing to sacrifice their singular life in the pursuit of a collective future, right? It is a very beautiful story, because for most people, especially in this current generation or this current world, is the idea of individualism. We have a very big problem with hyper individualism, to the point where we can go into the criticisms of revolution and, even things as the complacency in our society. Moderates fucking hate moderates, but also moderates are inevitable in a society that always rewards convenience and hyper individualism. Nobody wants to go to war, especially what's going on right now. Many people who voted in favor for this situation. I'm gonna try to be very vague, because I don't know how YouTube's gonna be, but if you know, you know. For the people who are in situations where they may have voted for this, or they may have knew this was coming, or they have wished death upon the Middle East or a certain group of people, it is quite frustrating because those same people are the ones who go, oh, but I'll never get drafted. Oh, but like that'll never happen to me, because I forget the term, the phenomenon, but it's the idea that even though statistics can say whatever it wants to say, you as an individual will always have bias towards your life that this won't happen to you, right? And that will always cause people to never truly confront a intergenerational problem. And the Fremen are in such extreme circumstances in Arrakis that they do not really have this problem, and they've literally have a collective agreement that despite the individual, the water is for the village. When you die, who fucking gives a shit whether or not you burn out in the middle of the desert or you get swallowed up by a worm? Your water matters. Your water matters to the rest of us, so we have to take that from you. And I think that's a very beautiful idea. I remember one time somebody got mad at me because they looked at my ID and they're like, oh, you're a donor? Oh my god, like if I die, they're gonna like donate some like a bunch of shit from my body to other people, right? And even though the system is not perfect, I don't fucking need those things. I don't need those things. But people go, oh, when you're in a hospital, they're more likely not to treat you because they're, willing to see if you die. Like, why would you do that? And I was like, okay, look, even if I go through medical malpractice and I end up dying because they're not as attentive for me, and oh, whoopsie daisy, they don't, give me enough surgeries, and then, I die from complications or whatever. At the end of the day, my time is my time. My body, once it's gone, should be given to someone else. And that right to me shouldn't be revoked because of who might exploit that, right? And that is something that I really, really love, and things that I really take into account when I read the original Dune. Because the original Dune is just such a masterpiece. And it's such a masterclass of all of these innate, complex ideas culminating to one person, Paul, who tells himself that he's the right fit for this and uses his bias and his hatred and his jealousy and revenge to get what he wants in the name of, I'm here for the Fremen. Oh, you guys don't deserve to be here, blah, 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 when he is in that same position, when he couldn't care less about them. So there is a lot of decent ideas in this book where we're at this point where Paul has made Arrakis into a water haven, right? And there, mind you, he's jihaded multiple different planets at this point, right? So he's king of the universe at this point. He really is. He just has some minor factions who are fighting with him in Choam, whatever. But he essentially owns everything. And he looks at his city, and when he's dealing with this conflict within himself of, oh, the prophecy of the falling moon and blah, 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 he is tweaking out because in his mind, he believes that, wait, did it stop? Oh, okay, sorry, I thought it tweaked out. But in his mind, he's convinced himself that he just everything's gonna fall apart, and that the Fremen are now the ones who are not loyal to him. They romanticize what once was, right? There's a poem going around of Our Lady of the Desert, right, where they talk about what it meant to be in the desert before Arrakis became a water safe haven. And he's frustrated. He feels like the Fremen have kind of disavowed his favor, he helped all these people, and they're sitting here and they're complaining because they're romanticizing what was. But it's because innately his goal is not in line with what the Fremen really wanted. Because at the end of the day, he just did it for his own personal goal. And the main capital of Arrakis is kind of an epitome of that. You know what I mean? So it's very frustrating. And it's very interesting because there is a lot of good things about this book, but it's just so hindered by these female characters who are the main focus. It's really, really annoying. It's either this or I'm hearing Paul recite the same stupid, regurgitated, dumbed down bullshit that was innately so beautiful and nuanced in the first book. But because we have to sit here and we have to tell 5-year-olds how Paul Atreides feels, we have to say it outright. And it's been a real big drag to read it. It really is, and it's quite sad. I'm at that point where, what's her name? Grandmother Helen, is it Grand? It's like something mother. I forget what. Head honcho lady. Head honcho lady of the Ben Gesserit, the one who tested Paul Atreides. She is going in to have a deal with Paul. Because Paul is freaking out because, oh, I need you to save Chani because Chani blah 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 Baron blah 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 blah. And right now they're having a plight of like whether or not to use his seed synthetically to impregnate Princess Arulin. But innately, the caveat is that whatever she births cannot take the throne, and he will not acknowledge it as his. And the Ben Gesserit can use his genes to manipulate more bloodlines through Arulin, but they won't have his throne. Which is a good checkmate. I will admit, it's a really good checkmate. But honestly, I really fucking hate that we're sitting here and we're having this whole thing about Chani because she is a nothing burger character, and it's really sad because she's just the exotic woman. She's just the exotic wife that Paul, longs for. Oh, I need the reprieve of my beautiful, sensual wife who always agrees with me and loves me to death. Yeah, I need her right now. It's just so hard being a genocidal dictator. Oh my god, I need my girl right now. That's literally what it's like. And, that's great, but there's just no commentary on how she feels or what she's doing or all this shit. And when it is, it's very shallow and it's annoying. And I hope the new movie, the new movie is gonna make it better because I saw a lot of great personality traits for Chani. And I also think Zendaya just knocks it out of the fucking park. But I do think that, personally for me, if I were to recite the entirety of the trailer, that moment where Paul is hugging Chani and they're talking about their first kid, which, mind you, they had their first kid in the book at 16 after having a sex orgy after his mom takes the water of life and Alia, the embryo, gets bestowed upon infinite knowledge. So mind you, that baby gets blown up in a siege. Never talked about again. Never. Everything that's gonna happen right now is going to be, spoiler, what I prophesize is going to be in support of what the kids who will be in the next one, which is God Emperor, which is going to be the worm boy, which is Leto Atreides, and then the girl, which I forgot her name, but I don't think she matters. So I don't know, because again, Frank Herbert doesn't know how to write women. So all this to say is that I hope in the movie, when I saw that trailer where she's like, oh, if it was a boy, I'll call him Leto, and if it was a girl, blah blah blah, and he's hugging her I hope and pray that is literally just something in his mind that he wishes could happen, because I really hope they deviate from the book and just have Chani completely revolt Paul. Or if she does still stay with him, she kind of just sticks with him in kind of a disgruntled way, to the point where maybe she finds out about the whole political coup that's happening in this book, between Skytel, Arulin, Fish Dude, and Old Lady, and she just kind of lets it happen because she knows in her heart Paul is going too far, because we're still doing jihads. Guys, we have the water paradise. We don't need to keep on doing jihads. We don't need to keep on genociding multiple planets. We don't. But hopefully with Chani in the movies, she gets a lot better writing. Same with Alia. I love Alia, and I think this whole kitty romance crush that she has on Duncan is weird and annoying, and it kind of shallows her out a lot, and it pisses me off. And yeah, so I read this on the plane. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I could talk about this for hours. But other than that, I did watch The Piano Teacher, which is a very famous French movie about sexual repression, and it was really good. It was really, really good. It's about sexual repression, so there is sex in it, and it is a very dark film. It is very, very dark. One of the first scenes is literally the teacher, she in the bathroom, because she's stuck living with her mom, cuts herself in her vagina. It just bleeds and then just casually cleans everything up. It's a long scene where she cleans everything up and she just walks out. And it is a very hard film, because I do think it's a very big warning for a lot of people what happens when you are sexually repressed, and also how that kind of like explodes, because I don't think the sexual appetite that she has is innately wrong. It's the fact that she's covering up for how bad her life is, right? This is a trauma response. And so she is manipulating, not entirely, but this guy who, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is where he I forget exactly the phrase, but he goes, I know I'm charismatic and all, but at the end of the day, it's superficial. And it shows what his character is, where he just kind of wants a quick fuck. He wants a quick fuck from a girl from a woman that he kind of sees as a good chase, right? He gets women easily. He already has a passion for hockey. He already has his own life in engineering, like trying to go towards that. And he kind of pivots to piano just to get with this girl. Well, maybe I'll do a class. Like, I'm multi-talented. I could just, do a class and try to get with this lady, fuck her and then leave, because that's just who he is. And he gets wrapped up in her emotional push and pull to the point where they kind of like gravitate towards each other in such a toxic way. And it's really beautiful. It's a very beautiful sight to see. If you struggle with sexual repression, if you have a sexual journey that you need to go through, I do think this is a very important film, because I've met so many people who go to opposite ends of the spectrum, where hypersexuality breeds like insecurity and overdependence, and it kind of leads to this massive destruction in their lives, or they become prudes. And being prudes and trying to be snobbish and acting as if sex is above you is also unhealthy too, because then you deal with the sexual oppression that kind of ignites into a flame and goes all the way over here. You either go all the way from over here and then you act like prude, or you've been a prude and you go all the way over here and you become a hoe. And being a hoe is fine. You just need to be a hoe for healthy reasons. You need to work towards your sexual appetite and your sexual confidence as a pursuit of your true self and expression. Because that's all sex is. It's an expression. It's an innate desire you have into. When you cry, like when you're sad, you cry. When you get mad, you huff, you grit your teeth. When you're happy, you laugh and you raise your eyebrows. And sex is an innate desire to be intimate with people. And everyone has their own definition. Everyone has their own ways of expressing it. Everyone has their own appetites. But I do think this movie is very, very big on the extremes of it and how the slippery slope can be, because the points of which this relationship evolves and devolves is really good. And it kind of shows so many ends of the spectrum. So many fucking ends of the spectrum, right? There's a point where he's getting blue-balled. There's a point where she's begging him, just completely disheveled, like just destroying every part that she has built for herself, just disheveled, and begging him and acting as if everything that she said that she wanted in the beginning was a lie, when that's not a healthy relationship in the first place. Because if that's what she truly wanted and that was truly what was beneficial in her heart and her soul, it's not healthy to act as if you are lying just because you want this person to give that to you, just to give you anything, right? That's not okay. And then in the end, he comes back to her aggressive and frustrated and ends up hurting her deeply, and saying, well, you asked for this, you wanted it this way, blah 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 blah, and then something really bad ends up happening. And it is just such a good, there's just so much to like pick at when it comes to these dynamics. And I really, really think it is a very, very, very important movie. It is very rough. It is a very rough watch, especially in the kind of final act. It is but that final scene is monumental. I would put it in my top 5 like scenes of all time. Like that's like on my top 5. So I was like, damn, I will never forget this. I would never ever forget that scene. And I do think it's just a very good movie. I've heard that this, because it's a very famous movie, but I have heard that this director does a lot of other really good movies. Like I want to watch Funny Games, I think it's called. I would really, really like to watch that, and just other movies that he's done, because I really like his style. I really, really do. And it was very good. It was very, very good. I highly recommend it if you're up for watching a movie like that. I know a lot of people only watch a movie for like amusement. You will most likely not be amused watching this, but you will, if you're like me, you will be intrigued and you will ride with it. But yeah, that's what I watched when I was on the Swiss airplane. We went to Zurich. Zurich was very nice. Everybody was super sweet. It's really funny because like they play all of the music that I heard on the radio because they had to drive us to like a different part of the terminal. Was literally like 2010s white people music, and it just brought me back. I was like, whoa, whoa, we're hearing like 2014 white girl music in 2026. Shout out to Switzerland. Shout out to Switzerland because you know what? They have their own thing going for them and they're eating it up. They're eating it up. Shout out to them for that one because I was like, oh, this ate. Especially I'm like listening to white girl music and I have like the beautiful Swiss Alps like right next to me. It was super foggy that morning too because by the time that we landed, it was like 8 o'clock in the morning for this time zone. And then by that point, we stayed for an hour and then we flew from Zurich to Malaga. And now I'm here. And today was like my first day out, but it's technically my second day. I guess I'm going to try to finish this up because this is like really, really long. I ended up rambling like way longer than the first video I made. But in general, this was a very good day today. I ate very well. That's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to eat. And tomorrow we're going to go to the beach and we're going to have fun. And I'm going to tan and probably get darker because I am super duper white, surprisingly. And this is after the tan too, so I need to get a little whiter. And yeah, so tomorrow's going to be more relaxation. I'm going to spend more time like reading. I do have Doom Messiah, but I also have George Orwell collection, which the George Orwell collection calls to me more than finishing this godforsaken book. But I really feel like I just have to like get over with it and just finish it. Let's see. I think that's all I want to say today. There's a lot more that I do want to say in general, but overall, I just kind of wanted to like catch everyone up for what I was doing on the plane and also what I've done today. So yeah, I thank you so much for watching. If you are one of my friends who's watching this, I miss you guys. If you're family, I miss you too. If you're a stranger, thank you for watching a random girl's video. I will be doing this. I will try to do this every day. I will try to do this every day. I'm going to see how this works out when I go through editing. If you see this, that means everything worked out. If you don't see this, I guess this was just me and me only. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to me ramble. I hope you have a great day and